Rob Parker, I know, just has a smile on his face because of what Aaron Rodgers did on Sunday. I mean, it's sad that it had to come against your guy. When's he going to get his starting job back again? But
oh wow, it's got
30,
jokes. Wow.
30-16, Green Bay beats Philadelphia, probably closer than you might have expected. But Aaron Rodgers, another superb game, 25 for 34, 295 yards, 3 touchdowns, of course, no picks. Just a strong game again by him, Rob. And you wrote an interesting column on Deadspin. There's been a lot of talk about the MVP. Obviously, Pat Mahomes is always there. Russell Wilson was the runaway leader early in the season. He's fallen off. Derrick Henry had a really bad game against the Browns on Sunday, so that takes him, that drops him down a few notches. Alvin Kamara hasn't been the same without Drew Brees. So you wrote about Aaron Rodgers, who has really been there all year. Tom Brady's fallen out of the leader off the leaderboard as well. And so tell us about your column and what you think about Brady in this. Rodgers.
Yeah, I think last week we thought that Mahomes jumped in the lead for sure. He had the big game. And then this past week, to me, it felt like Aaron nudged him out. I think Mahomes had 1 touchdown, just a different kind of game yesterday. Nothing spectacular for him. And Aaron Rodgers had a big first half and 3 touchdowns, no picks. And when you start to look at the numbers, I just start to keep looking at them. And Rodgers through 12 games is on pace for 48 touchdowns, 118.5 passer ratings. And those are all numbers that are right on par the last time he won the MVP, Chris, in 2011 when he had
Did he win in 2014?
What's that? Yeah.
I think he won it in 2014, too.
Yeah. But they're better than those numbers.
Right.
I should say that. They're like the 2011 numbers, but better than
his 11
even the
numbers
20.
Were crazy.
The 2014, he had 38 touchdowns and 112 passer rating. Right. So all I'm saying is, at this point, with 4 games to go, I got Aaron Rodgers in the lead. He has a higher quarterback rating. He also has that big win against the Saints on the road. That's his signature win I look at for a signature win. If the Packers and Saints finish in a tie, and that game was in New Orleans, if they finish in a tie, the Packers have the tiebreaker. So that's a huge game right there. And then for him to put up the numbers that he's been able to put up without Devontae Adams for 3 games, without Aaron Jones for 3 games, those are his biggest weapons. And then yesterday, it just reminded us, not that this has anything to do with, Chris, the MVP for this year, but Aaron Rodgers became the fastest player in NFL history to reach 400 touchdown passes. And he did it in just 193 games, which is 12 games less than Drew Brees. And then probably the other thing that is shocking, he also became the first player, set the record for the most seasons, Chris, of 35 or more touchdowns. He now has 5. He was tied with Manning and Brady and Brees, and now he has that record by himself. But the other thing was, the last thing is the how he just doesn't throw interceptions.
Right.
Are you ready for this? I don't know if you saw this graphic. I think this graphic is amazing. How many touchdowns did Brett Favre? How many interceptions did Brett Favre have when he got to 400 touchdowns?
Oh, I'm gonna say
he's the all-time interception king.
Yeah,
so.
I'm gonna say 312.
Nah, too high. Wow. All right,
295.
258.
How many does he have for his career?
I don't know what that number is, but this is when he got to 400.
258. Okay.
And here's the other guys behind. Aaron Rodgers, Chris, you got a number?
I saw it.
88.
91, wasn't it?
88.
88, okay.
Tom Brady, 143. Drew Brees, 196. Peyton Manning, 198. Phillip Rivers, 202. And Dan Marino, 239. So he's done it at – nobody's done that with the lack of – he's very, very careful for the most part with the football. But I just think it's been a great bounce-back year for a guy a lot of people wrote off. And Aaron Rodgers has played well the entire year. The one blemish was the Tampa Bay game where he had the 2 turnovers. That was it.
Yeah, look, Aaron Rodgers, all the things you said are correct. He's having a great year. There's no question about it. And that said, to me, it's clearly Patrick Mahomes. Now, I'm not going to say it's a runaway, it's a rout because Rodgers is playing so well. I certainly wouldn't sit here and poo-poo in any way this type of season he's had. But I think Patrick Mahomes is clearly the MVP right now. And I think if Aaron Rodgers gets it, and to your credit, Rob, you didn't mention this, but I think if he wins it, like say the season ended today, and or they just both of them continue to play as they have, all season for the rest of the year. If Rodgers were to win it, I think it would be based on narrative. It would be based on what you said. I mean, you didn't say this in terms of this is why he should be the MVP.
No,
but you mentioned a lot of people had written him off. I think that's an overstatement. But obviously, some people thought he wasn't quite the same. He was still very good, but not the same old Aaron Rodgers. The Packers themselves drafted a quarterback in the draft when they obviously should have went for a receiver. So I think that narrative, late in his career, we all know how great he is. I think that narrative, if that sways writers, that's the only way he wins it. Kind of like the sentimental vote. Like, to be honest, similar to what a lot of people were saying about LeBron in the NBA. He had a great narrative. It was very romantic and all that. And Rodgers is not quite as much as LeBron's, but still, there's a nice storyline there. But I think when we look at the facts, it's got to be Mahomes. I mean, number one, they're 11-1, and I know it's not just about team record, but they're 11-1. The Packers are 9-3. Mahomes is averaging 318 yards a game. Rodgers only averaging 283. That's almost 40 yards a game more than Rodgers. Touchdowns, Rodgers got him 36-31. Rodgers thrown 4 interceptions. But Mahomes, you mentioned Rodgers being careful with the ball. Mahomes has 2 interceptions and has thrown 40 more passes, I think, than Aaron Rodgers. So then Mahomes leads the league in QBR. Rodgers is second. Here's a few things that are the clincher for me, Rob. You mentioned Rodgers has that clunker, and he does. I mean, and obviously he's had a great year, but that game against Tampa, he wasn't just mediocre. He was bad. He was downright bad. He completed less than 50% of his passes. He had 2 interceptions, no touchdowns in a huge game against Tom Brady, and he wet the bed. I mean, it's just as simple as that. 160 yards pass in that game. They had the early lead, which you thought, you'd think would bode well for them, and he just fell apart and gave them nothing. And then Mahomes has not had a bad game yet.
Right,
now,
let me just
he's had a
jump
few
in.
games with, let me finish. You had
okay.
He had a few games with 1 touchdown, but he has not had a bad game yet. No game where he's only, below 50% completion or anything like that. And then this, Rob, and then I'll give it to you after this. You always like to look at who you've beaten, right? Strength of schedule, so to speak. All right. Against teams with winning records, the Packers are 1-2. 1-2. Against teams with winning records, the Chiefs are 4-1. Case closed. Case closed. And that's nothing against Rodgers, but he's just going up against a whirlwind in Patrick Mahomes. So I got Mahomes still.
And here you just talked about Patrick Mahomes not having any stinkers or clunkers. 3 times this year, he's had passer ratings under 100. Aaron Rodgers has done it only once, and that was the Tampa Bay game. So while you might say he didn't have any stinkers, those are 3 times he was under 100 in passer rating. He did it 3 times. He did it against the Chargers, the Raiders, and Denver. So he does have a couple there, and you talked about the 1 touchdowns. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I think you're right. There's definitely a narrative, and there'll be some people who look at it, especially with the records he set yesterday, Chris. If he
Right.
were to play it out and whatnot, people will look at him and go, man, what up? They wrote him off. What a bounce back year. This guy, and if they get the number 1 seed in the NFC because he beat the Saints, in New Orleans, it could be there. It just depends on how the last 4 games play out.
Who do you have in the MVP race? I got Pat Mahomes I just think it's clearly him. Rob's got Aaron Rodgers. Who you got?
All right, let's kick it off with Dr. Midnight in Toronto. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Dr. Midnight?
Happy holidays, guys. How are you guys doing?
Doing
We
good.
are great, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy Mother's Day Monday. And I hope Santa brings all these school supplies, baby formula to all the girls in Magic City.
That's right.
That's right.
Dr. Midnight, don't let Rob corrupt you, man.
No. Dr. Midnight is a good man.
I've been far corrupted before I heard about Rob Parker. It's all good here, man. But Aaron Rodgers, the stats are pretty much the same. It's hard to differentiate between the stats between the both players. But the way I see it, if I replace either one of those quarterbacks, if I replace Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City with some schmuck, I can at least rely on Andy Reid to at least think of a game plan who can win you a game. If I replace Aaron Rodgers with some schmuck in Green Bay, I don't have the confidence that Matt LaFleur can think of a game plan to get their team to win a game. So as a result, I think Aaron Rodgers is more valuable to the team, and as a result, is an MVP of the league. If I look at it that way, that's all I gotta say.
LaFleur is 24-6 as a head coach. I mean, you kind of making it hard on him. He hadn't proven anything to you.
Not yet. We know that.
Well,
He's off to a good start. He's off to a good start. No doubt about it. Nick in Indiana, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Nick?
Hey, guys. Long-time listener. Really love the show.
Thank you.
Great to have you on, my man.
That's right,
Hey.
Nick.
Hey, generally, I side with Rob on most things, but I'm going to have to go with Chris on this one, for no other reason than the eye test alone. But one of my problems with Rob's argument is about how many touchdowns that Rodgers has. How many teams out there have a guy that scored 20 rushing touchdowns last year and are passing the ball from the 1-yard line over and over and over again?
Right.
So
Right.
Yeah, but
I
he
don't
also
understand
has
why
a
you
higher,
can rely
he
on
also
his
has
touchdown numbers.
Well, but that's what we gauge, and he also has a higher quarterback rating. So it's not that takes everything into consideration. The passer rating looks at a lot of different things, not just touchdowns, and he leads them in that. That's all. It's just an indication mark. If it didn't matter, then people wouldn't have made a big deal when Pat Mahomes had 50. It matters that up touchdowns. Even if Chris throwing it from 2 yards out, it's still a touchdown pass. Right? We didn't negate his touchdowns then.
Right.
Ricky in Texas, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio.
Hey, guys, thanks for taking my call. Boy, I really
Yes.
love listening to the show. Takes me back. I feel like I'm back in the locker room with the guys and stuff.
Man, you know what? That's as nice as you could say, man. Thank you.
As far as the MVP race goes, although I really am a big Packers fan, I got to say I'd go with Mahomes. To me, I base it on this. If I was to pick one guy for next year or for this year to start a franchise with, it would be
But that's
Mahomes. And just for 1 year, not just for the long-term play, but for 1 year. And I think you guys hit on it a while ago. It's just like with LeBron. You start looking at people who beat LeBron out for MVP in the NBA, Westbrook, Harden, these guys like that. You would always take LeBron over those. But I think sometimes these guys spike up a little bit, have a feel-good year, and then the guy who's really the class of the league gets punished a little bit. So that's my take on it. Thanks a lot.
I appreciate it. I don't think there would be any punishment. It's not like they're giving it to Aaron Rodgers because it won't be. What do we call it, Chris?
A sentimental, lifetime achievement.
Lifetime achievement, right?
I do think I do feel like Mahomes is significantly ahead. And again, Rob, I base a lot of it on he has not had a bad game. Now you could say he's had
I'm just saying
a couple pretty good games.
Yeah, he
rather
had
than
3
great games,
under
but he hasn't had any bad games at all.
Let me ask you this. So that would change. Say he had a clunker next week. Would that change?
Well,
your
that
opinion?
could change it. Yeah, if he went out and did what Aaron
Say
Rodgers did
they had the
against
same
Tampa Bay,
numbers, and
like
they-
if he played a game like Rodgers did against Tampa Bay, yeah, that would have a huge impact.
Okay.
But he's beaten Baltimore when Baltimore was rolling. You know, he's beaten the Raiders when they were rolling. You know, he's beaten some. He's, like I said, 4-1 against teams with winning records. Packers are 1-2.
Joel in Sacramento, you're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio.
What's happening? How y'all doing today?
Doing good.
Great,
What's
man.
up,
How are
buddy?
you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Hey, I think it's Aaron Rodgers. I think Mahomes got millions of weapons. Aaron Rodgers only really has Devontae Adams. And Chris, you
Aaron
brought up
Jones isn't a weapon.
I mean, he's all right. He ain't Le'Veon Bell. But
Le'Veon Bell. This
Yeah.
ain't 2015, bruh.
hey, but you said
Le'Veon Bell.
wait, but you said Aaron Rodgers had a stinker against
Tampa
what was that
Bay.
team? Tampa Bay. What
Yeah.
about the first Raider game? The first Raider game.
Wasn't a
When, he
stinker. He had
started-
one touchdown. No, was it just one touchdown?
It wasn't
But no
great.
pick.
He had-
Two touchdowns, one pick, I believe. Mahomes
But
had.
he started padding his stats at the end of that game. Which made it look like
How
it was
about
more
he
closer.
started trying to come back? They
Nah.
rallied. He threw
turned
for
into Fat
340.
Patrick.
Hold on, he threw for 340 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. That's a stinker.
What was his
Patrick.
quarterback rating in that game?
Stat Patrick.
What was his quarterback rating?
83.5.
Yeah, it was under 100, so it wasn't that great of a day.
But it wasn't a bad. It wasn't a
I'm
stinker.
just saying. All
You
I'm
know,
saying
that's
is
what
it
I'm
wasn't
saying.
that great to be under 100. That's all.